Hey everyone, TJ Hernandez here, and I'm the founder of RosterCoach.com, a classroom-style video-based website that's designed to help you improve your daily fantasy sports game. Today's preview is from a lesson discussing how to implement two-player stacks in your NFL DFS lineups. If you like this video, please like and share it, and don't forget to leave a comment below.
With two-man stacks, there isn't a ton of variety or choices that you have, but there's no doubt that there are good and bad options. RotoViz has created a huge correlation chart to highlight this fact. The goal of DFS, and especially GPPs, is to maximize the upside of your lineup and correlate players the best way you can. A great way to do that is through stacking. For example, if your quarterback goes off, you can also take advantage of the quarterback's receivers having good games as well. What often makes a good two-man stack is this positive correlation, so it goes without saying that this chart is extremely helpful and informative. This spreadsheet highlights a bunch of different two-man stacks I want to talk to you guys about today. The correlations, positive or negative, can be found in this column. Something else to keep in mind is if there's an X before the position, that means the player is on the first team. So then, in turn, the Y denotes if the player is on the opposing team. So two X's would be two players from the same team, an X and a Y would be a player from both teams in the game. The first box at the top is going to show you what the best correlations are. 1.0 being the highest possible. The top correlated stack is between a quarterback and his wide receiver 2 on his own team. When a quarterback does really well or poorly, the wide receiver 2's production is the one that's affected the most, but with that said, all wide receiver stacks are relatively close. Clearly the best two-man stack is quarterback wide receiver in some fashion. Intuitively, I can get behind that. I will continue referencing this study as both DraftKings and FanDuel support the chart on RotoViz as quarterback wide receiver being far and away your best option for two-man stacks in large GPPs. Also, on FanDuel, kickers have a high correlation with both quarterback and defense from the same team. This positive correlation makes sense. If a team is ahead, the defense will have a higher probability of causing turnovers as the opposing team takes chances to get back into the game. Also, if a defense is scoring points, their own team has probably scored some points already, so extra points or field goals have likely already occurred. Not to mention, the offense may not take as many chances the rest of the game, and they may even settle for more field goals. The following box has the worst correlations, 1.0 still being the highest possible. It is not surprising to see a lot of opposing defenses on this list. If a team is getting turnovers, it takes away from opportunities at the skill positions of other teams. Stacking running backs from both teams in the same game also caps your upside. If a team is ahead, trying to run out the clock, one back may be getting carries, but the other is sitting on the bench as his opportunities decrease when time is going to expire. Don't get me wrong, there's always merits to being contrarian in GPPs, but the running back stack is extremely game script dependent, and the only way it can really work most weeks is if both backs are active in the passing game or they score a touchdown. Speaking of contrarian stacks, there are a few other two-man stacks I want to discuss. The first is quarterback tight end. Obviously, quarterback stocks don't always have to be with wide receivers, though the correlation is better. You can diversify yourself in tournaments or even cash games from other lineups by stacking the tight end instead. Oftentimes, you can free up some salary by doing this, and it completely changes your roster construction. You still have exposure if the wide receiver goes off because you have the quarterback. But if the tight end goes off, you're now setting yourself apart from everyone else with all their hopes and dreams into the quarterback wide receiver stack from that game. The next two stacks I want to talk about in this category are quarterback running back and wide receiver running back. The idea behind using them is largely the same. These stacks can be especially useful in GPPs, as you may see they both performed relatively well in the Sunday Million tournament on FanDuel last season. I personally was a bit surprised to see running back wide receiver so high on the list on both platforms due to its slightly negative correlation of negative 0.07. However, when you really think about it, there's no reason to avoid these players from the same team if they are strong values individually. For example, Antonio Brown paired with D'Angelo Williams, or even Julio Jones paired with Devonta Freeman, proved to be a fantastic GPP stack last season. They did in fact cap each other's TD upside, but what is actually more important is when both players are productive, they help move the chains. More drives being kept alive meant more TD opportunities for the entire offense. Each additional yard gained by either player puts them closer to the end zone. The same thinking goes for quarterback running back stacks.